Oh, and I didn't even check if my curtain was fine. I haven't even loaded up. Oh my goodness. What are you doing to me, camera? Let me just get... Oh. It's got autofocus on. It's all ruined. Let's see if we can do this live. I'm doing it live. Okay, where are you? I'll just get this turned up. Things I need to check. Such an unprofessional start. So unprofessional. Okay. Moreover. Here, I'll do this. It's actually okay. Awesome. I just have to get the lighting correct. The camera's loaded up incorrect. So the little preset that's supposed to be on it isn't on. So let me quickly get that up. Where are you, Logi? G-Hub? Let's see if you do this. Come on. Oh my gosh, it's refusing to boot. Will this be alright? A little fuzzy in the corner. Let's make this happen. Alright. We'll go straight into writing mode. That'll get rid of it. All the thoughts will disappear and you won't even know. Just a little bit disappointed that that's not booting up correctly. Try. Ooh. It just booted up. It didn't update. Thank you kindly. I really appreciate that. Oh my goodness. Did it load up my preset? Huh? Ooh. Okay, all taken care of. Let's pretend nothing like that ever happened. And that this is going like extremely well. Alright. So let's go straight into writing mode, and I'll bring up Renoise and let's do some things. So I thought tonight I might just start with a bunch of like drum noises. I think that would be a really good thing to do. And then from there we can kind of mess around with it. Okay. So we're going to go through and we're going to pick a kick sample. And just have a listen through a bunch of them. Ooh. Really like that trashy one, so I'm just going to load that in. And then I had a secondary one there, so let's put that one in as well. Let's go to my volume and let's get some more volume happening locally, and then I'll turn this down a little bit for you guys on this end. See what this does. I think that's got some really nice air in it, so I think if we get something that's a little bit sub, that actually is pretty nice. I think it'll complement the airy bit. So with this kick here that we've got here, I'm just going to tune it really quickly. So what that just entails is we're just going to create a little loop. So we go down here, we go forward, and we just grab something towards the end. Just remember when you're dealing with kick drums, the frequencies higher at the start and lower at the bottom. So when you loop this, just to make sure that that's pretty tight. I'm going to pick up a loop point just at the end of that. We're just going to grab one. What does one mean? One little triangle kind of sine wave there. just going to play this note. You can kind of see now it's creating a note, and then I'm going to run through, and I've got a tuner plug-in here that just helps me. I don't have perfect pitch. I wish I did. Well, maybe not. I've heard people have perfect pitch have a hard time in life. Sorry if you do. And you're having a hard time right now. I'm really sorry. So we're going to just tune this up. Remember that it's kind of around the G sharp area. But what we want to do is we've got C written in there, and we want to get this very close to C. And then we're going to sharpen this note by going to this fine tune here. And then we're all set. All right. So now that we've got that done, we can kind of trigger this off really nicely now. To kind of suit our needs and what we need to get done. I'm going to use that kind of as the body, and then we're going to use these other two samples as the air, and we'll kind of sculpt these together to see how it's fitting in. We'll dip this down, and what I mean by that is we're going to use a volume ramp to go out on it. I'm going to leave it a little bit open at the start and then slow it down, and then really turn it to ramp the volume down really quickly using the O and the 7. I'm going to do a similar thing with this open air kit, and we're going to do some sample offsetting with it. So I'm going to try it really short here. I'm going to leave it a little longer. Yeah, that's good. Like, it's just slowly ramping down here, and it's still on a little bit. I'm just going to turn my speakers here a little bit louder. Seems to be a little bit softer than before. Let's get that down. I went too high. So I guess from here we'll just start creating some kind of beat. I love the airiness of what that is, so I'm gonna kind of play with that a bit more. I'm gonna call this kick body, and I'm gonna call this kick air, and I'll just put snare in here for now. I think we're gonna do a little octave on the kick air here to get the little snare noise. Trigger this off again. I'm gonna ramp the volume down really quickly on this, and I might even do a little cut about halfway through the ticks, even quicker. And I'm gonna octave that up, that little snare hit. So I'm going to leave that as the rhythm for now, and then just repeat that and listen to this. Okay. Now I'm going to grab the body and not this air, and we're going to trigger that off just a little bit beforehand. And then we're going to put a light little hit in here for this one, and we're actually going to ramp that volume down. I'm going to add in the panning channel. I don't think I'm going to use it. Just going to switch over the cutoff to that and then halve the volume on this while still leaving the volume ramp down. Alright, I'm gonna just do just test one little thing. I'm going to bring this all down one more tick on either side and see if this can kind of take a little bit of a shuffle. Not liking that, so I'm just going to quickly undo it. Okay. I'm going to create a little bit of complexity down on this last bit, like a little drum roll to kind of set up. So I'll just go with what's in my head and we'll see if it works. That's too soon. You can... Just gonna delay that out just one more bit here. We'll bring that in sooner. I might actually leave this to this part here. Let's do this and see what happens. Not loving the triplet nature of that on the end, but let's have a that's a little bit better. Okay, so from here we're going to create a little bit of a slight variation in the tone. So we've got an alternate kind of air noise. So I'm going to use those on the ones and then we'll trigger it here again. Just to create a little bit of difference in that tone. Then the next thing I'm going to do is do this thing called sample offset. So if I come into this little moment here, we can offset it into the sample wherever we want using the S command. So this will just create a slight amount of variation in that other hit. And I'm going to keep this pretty random. Don't want it to be the same in every single one of them. You can kind of hear it cutting into that. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to do a very similar thing with this. Don't forget the little snare hit that we've got there, which isn't really a snare hit. It's a tuned up kick, air kick. I'm going to put that up using the other sample and also doing a little sample offset in it. Let's get that in the right octave. Can't really hear that. So we're going to reduce that down and we're going to get rid of this cut out. And I'll just put you in on 7. Yeah, nice. Open these out. Get rid of this. And then on that go. I might drop that one down an octave. Yeah, I'm really happy with that. The next thing we're going to do is kind of just create a hi-hat movement. I'm probably just going to octave shift up again the kick noise and do a really quick little cut off on it. Yeah, that's... And then I'm just gonna put down a pattern that I can kind of hear in my head and see if it works. Don't like how that gets triggered off again there. So I'm just gonna relax that a little bit. Same thing with the next movement when it comes in. Just delay that a little bit. And then I'm gonna add another little one in this passing note here. Copy and paste that down there. Just listen to that. Gonna put the panning in on that one too, and I just will double check, but I don't think we can do that. Okay, let's put in the little cutoffs that I've put in there, and we're gonna just volume this out a little bit more. One thing I kind of like to do once that I've got this basic rhythm in place is kind of create copy and paste all hi-hat through the whole entire thing, but making sure that it's at a really super low volume, and then it kind of just pitters in underneath it all. So what does that look like? That just looks like this. You just copy then paste that across and then put this down to about 7. You can kind of hear it in the background. In a second we're going to put a slight chorus over this to break up the monotony of it on our ears. And it's going to be ever so slight. It's just enough to kind of break it up a little bit sonically. So I'm going to continue this mentality down here. I'm just copying and pasting every single note. Then I'm just going to listen for any passing notes that kind of present themselves. I'm going to skip this one. I'll put it in. I think if we put a passing note in here and turn this up slightly, I think it's gonna the 7s I'll drop a little bit lower in volume. Yeah, down to 4, and then just listen through that. Don't like that. I'm gonna leave the passing little moment to the end. This, we're not worrying about stereo separation or anything like this. We're just kind of laying down a beat to get a mood. When we move into kind of mixing and getting into sound stuff later, we'll deal with that. I just like to kind of sketch out the basic song ideas before I kind of commit to really spending time and effort creating little moments. Like I can kind of hear like that sub frequency could sit in the middle and that air stuff could sit around, and then you'd be testing whether the air stuff would sit in the middle, and you kind of crunch that down a bit more and spread it around. We may shape it a little bit as we go along, but I tend to just quickly get out as much as I can to see whether this inspires you know, some other movements and some things moving with it. I basically said the same thing twice then. All right. I'm just gonna get a longer snare sound now that I've got the kind of like noise over the top of it, which I really like. We're looking for something that has either a tom-like quality to it, might get a tom, or something that's kind of a bit more in that high, mid to high range. We're going to be mixing this in and flavoring it out. So skip down here and just get something a little bit big. Stick hits. Might bring that one up. I'm just gonna solo this and have a listen to it. What I am going to do with this, I'm going to do a slight little loop set up on it. Let's have a listen to it. I really like looping little snares and kind of controlling it. It kind of does a thing where it feels like it glitches out before you can fade it out. So if I listen to this, it's got a nice little noise about it. What I will do though is I will actually tune this as well, so that it we can kind of get it going. I will turn this down so that you can have more pleasant time with your ears. So if we use G sharp, that'll complement all these other notes we've done. And then we're going to slowly ramp this snare down as well, so you're not going to hear much of that noise on the end of it. So really severe, sharp turn down of volume. So let's just show you. Slightly hear it. Nice. And I even like that it's kind of got that little noise on it, but we'll treat it in that tone. You can hear kick drum and this snare have been tuned, so they're now in the same key together. And if you hear them next to each other, it'll make more sense. I'll just get that pattern in place though. Boop, and there. There. Sounds like a little octave jump on there for me. I'm just going to move this snare over to the other snare. We'll call this snare hit, and then snare body. It's not much of the body as much as it is the noise, so we'll keep those two together. Excuse me. I'm gonna turn off the OF on this last one, and we'll have a listen to that. It's going to open that snare out a little bit more. Try it on this one too. Yeah, so you're kind of getting that noise in on it, which is kind of nice. Alright, I'll drop this one up a little bit here. Gonna drop in the snare a little bit there and create a more melodic-y kind of pattern with it. Put the hi-hats on now. Just adjusting some volumes as I listen through it, just making sure. I'm gonna get my headphones on. Now that that's kind of together, I guess from here we'll create a bass tone, or I might actually get some little. I might actually construct some notes first. Just gonna listen through this one more time. Hear if I hear any bass like lines sticking out for me. Okay, we'll make a bass sound really quick. Don't need it to be anything amazing just yet. Yep. Whoop. I'll clean this out. Smooth it. Slightly tune this in place. It's just 8. And I think G sharp will be in the key with everything else. Great. Gonna just mess around a little bit and see if anything can kind of work with this or fit into it. I don't know what I'm kind of searching for with this. The drum beats feel a bit primal in the tone and the way they're kind of like pulsating like that. So I think I want something to fit into that tone a little bit, but I'm hoping that as we kind of run through some note variations and stuff like that, something will speak out. That's what I'm hoping. Or even just that delay is really nice. I'll just cut and paste that around. Gonna do a little octave jump up on the snare there, and we'll get the volume of that turned down a bit. Just turn that up so you can hear it. So I'm gonna shift the bass around now underneath that and see what happens. I'm also at the same time I'm gonna kill this whole entire bass line idea, and I'm gonna run a bass line up this and see if I can create something a little bit different. loop that around for a little bit, play with it, get some more tone through it, see what that takes us. And then we'll fix up some of those notes. It's not sounding very clean in that, but it's running more of a running bass line. So with this slight chorus, I'm actually going to put a signal follower on this, and I'll run a filter on the second part. We'll make it this Moog one, and then we're going to run this straight into the chorus, straight into the cutoff. I'm not going to do this down moment here. Dun, dun, dun. Let's try that. I'm just going to flavor some chords in around this and see where that kind of takes us next. Journey into sound. Ooh, I'm going to just try and remove this one. So that could be something we do later. I don't mind that variating. Put that in. I'll actually do this a little bit different. We're going to run an LFO, and you can get this to control anything. So in this case, I think probably want to keep the low end in to not control it as much. So we might as well get this to control an analog filter. And with this we can do a little step, so it's going to switch on and off, and then we can kind of, the frequency is at on the 64 ticks over the whole entire thing, and I think we want to reduce this to 32, and then we also at the same time want to reset it at the start of each bar, or else it can go out of sync. So right click on reset and it hits up the top here. So quickly get this to control the analog filter, and we'll get it to control the cutoff, and we'll just have a look at what's going to happen, see how it's going up, and then it goes down and then up. It's going to roll off the high end and give us that. It's inverted at the moment, so we'll get that in the right way around. We might get it to go a little bit higher than that. So inverting that, what are you doing to me? I'll just go straight to custom then. We'll type in 64 is correct, and we'll go up here. And then I think if we put this to points and put this point down on the middle, nice, that works. Alright, so with track 7, let's put an instrument through there. Now, I have been using this plugin that I've been really enjoying for layering a lot of organic collection of stuff. The problem is, in this current setup, it's so intense on the CPU, so I might have to omit using it. But the plugin for that one's called Iris, and it allows you to go through and strip out frequencies and really make field recordings kind of really come to life. And you can kind of pick out frequencies and notes and kind of run it all together. So maybe towards the end I'll start bringing something like that back in. But for now, I think I might just layer out. I was noticing that there's a bunch of one-shots that I've got here, or some synth notes, but kind of dubious. Let's just have a look. Much rather create all this stuff. Hey. Yes, predefined chords, please. Has its place. Let's not do that. No. So let's just create stuff. That's its own little thing. So I'm going to duplicate the original bass tone that we kind of created here, and I'm just going to brighten this up a little bit. So to do that, we just need to add some little rough edges through there. So quickly go into draw mode, and I'm just going to do a little peak there, and that should immediately brighten up the sample. So let's just hear the difference. Loud and bright, or a little bit softer. Okay, that's much more brighter. Just gonna do one little smooth over. Still maintains its little perkiness. So with this one here, we'll just create a quick little modulated setup with it. I'm going to use the envelope, and we're going to go into this little full edit mode. And so this is going to attack and then hold down a little bit. So I'm just going to press Q on my keyboard to trigger a note off. And then we've got the sustain here, so it'll hold on this for as long as we hold onto the note, and then it'll ramp off. So we don't need this to be too complicated. I think we can actually delete this point by just double clicking on it. I'm gonna put a slight little pitch setup in it. With this, we'll put a little LFO through it. I'll just get out of this edit mode. And then when we're in here, you can see it wobbling. It's too much, so I'm just going to up the frequency and then get the amplitude to be a little bit less. Ever so slightly. And then we're going to create a little cutoff filter on this as well. So we'll put a LP Moog setup on it. We'll get this little cutoff. Should sound a little bit duller right now. And with this one, I am going to do two. I'm going to put an envelope. That envelope is going to dip a little bit, but not too much. And then I'm going to run an LFO over that. And the two will mix together and make a beautiful pattern. See that? We'll turn this down a little bit and then get the amplitude down. This will just kind of break out the frequency sweep across it a little bit and make it change a bit. Make it a little bit more interesting on the ear. Resonance wise, yeah, just a little bit. Okay, so that's feeling nice. I might just chorus this out, and I'm going to do this through patterns instead of using plugins to do it. So all that means is this has got built-in phrasing, and I can trigger off notes. So when I trigger a note off, it actually triggers off this pattern instead. So if I go in here and put in the C, and then I put a slight down tune on it, what's going to happen is it's going to kind of be nicely detuned. The other thing we can do is put the pan channels on, and we're going to slightly like put one in the left and one in the right, just ever so slight. 8 is the middle. Let me just double check. Yep, FF is right and 0 is left. So to move it slightly around 8, we'll do 7 on one side in the pan channel. And we'll do 8 on the other one, 9 on the other one. So now if I trigger the note off, a little bit wider, and we've slightly detuned the right hand side. The other thing I'm just going to do is I'm going to put a little sneaky harmonic in there, and we'll make it a 7th. So we'll just come back to the phrases, and I will put in, actually, let's live on the edge and make it a 6th. I'm going to put an F in there instead. And we're gonna keep the volume of this super low. I'll leave it like this. I'll leave it pretty high to start with so that you can hear it, and then sounding terrific, but a harmonic should be really low in the mix. So we're just gonna put that down to 7. It's gonna ever slightly be there, and then I'm just gonna octave this up as well. We'll make this. Yeah. So now we'll turn the volume down a little bit on that. So I'll turn on the rest of the stuff that we've kind of created, and then we'll see if we can create like some kind of melody to flow through and around this. It's got a very you know, one of those vibes about it. Very synthy. I can hear that kind of note coming through. There's gonna be 5 notes in this chord, I believe. Not 5. We've got 1 octave. There's 4. It's going to be a very colorful chord. And we'll quickly shut this down by using the volume down just to start with. And I'm just going to reduce the volume of the channel too. Oh man. I am going to put a little slap delay over the top of that. I just feel like it would really make that sound really nice. Quickly place this on there, make it a plex, bring the echo time down, and put the mix up a little bit more even and the feedback a little bit down here. Cut off the low end. We should have a good start. So now I'm just going to create a syncopated kind of rhythm with that, and then we'll go through and we'll vary out the chord structure on it. I might just octave that. Nope. do like that better. So I'll create some kind of rhythm with that. I don't know where this is going, but let's just roll with it. You never know when you put vocals over the top what's going to happen next. I don't know. Boom, bum, bum. We need to put that back up to F. I feel like a little cut off would be good there. So let's do that. And I might just octave this down. We'll create a lot of note variation, I believe, in this, if it can take that note variation. Let's loop that. Alright, so let's have a mess around with the chord structure now. And I'm going to mute the bass as I do this because I want to influence the bass movement as track 7 happens, and we may actually just stitch nearly everything in it. Who knows? So we'll call this a synth stabs, certainly stabbing. And then we've got the bass here. I'm kind of stress this chord a little bit by squeezing up the spread of it. You can kind of hear the slight shift underneath there. It kind of and with this one I'll either move it down or up. But I will just copy and paste this one across here. I'm gonna just bring this forward just one note and see what happens. I really like that. So I think in that little guy there we'll create another little variation. Might actually even open this up a little bit more. And that's just not ramping the volume up. It'll make it sustain a little bit longer. Just making a chord now. And so I'll place this chord down again here, and we'll kind of crunch this up or make it go up in scale. Listening through to see if it needs anything else. I love it holding down there. Just gonna put some vocal down on that now. Let's see where that kind of takes us a little bit. So I'll set this up. In a second, I won't be able to talk to chat, but I will be recording some vocals. I'm just gonna drag my little vocal chain over. Do a quick little save on this for song 15. What? Already up to 15 ideas and it's day 7. I'm gonna have to stop soon. Alright, just go into recording mode. I'll be right back. Oh, no, 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 no. Ah. So found. Soon to fall, you fade. Ooh, babe, I love the, I love the flow, babe, 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 babe. It's so bad. I know you're home, oh bad. Every moment room I bet. I know you're good for I say it's supposed to be. I don't wanna see everything so happy. Those lyrics are up still from last night. I was just caught in the moment. Alright, so I'm just going to lay down the first little take that I did in there. Well, I've listened through to that. I'm just going to duplicate this out a few times. I think it's over 4. And then from there, we'll put auto seek on so that we can cut through this at any time. Get some volume in there. I'm just going to put my speakers on so I can get a nice little... Listen to the next bit, next take. Listen to the last take here. Alright. Just gonna head back into recording mode again. Let's have a listen through some of those. Feels more in a tone in which I would sing. That's probably the right word for it. I'm just going to put my speakers up. Oh. Come on. Yeah. space. Ever by your home, living in a pool, everything is okay. Ever by your home, ever by your space. Ever by your home, living in a pool, everything is okay. Ever by your home. So I'm feeling a bit better about where that's sitting tonally now. The other stuff was okay, it just doesn't feel in my voice. So we'll go down a little bit. Home, ever by your home, ever by your pool, ever by your school, ever by your only way. So now I'm going to go to the other vocal take. I'm going to dupe this out. We do need to create some more variation in this tone, but we're just going to continue getting these ideas together. So the next bit I'll put together with... actually, I've just got a quick vocal idea, so I'm just going to quickly put that in. Whoop. It's a little bit off kilter, this one. Speakers. Oh. I'm gonna bother be. Chat. Oh, turn that off. Ever wanna be, ever wanna hard to be. I just want to slow that down. Wanna hard, hard. Ever wanna blow apart. Ever wanna know your name. Ever wanna play your game. Ooh, ever wanna know where to go. Ever wanna hop on home, so I know how to fight. Ever wanna hop, I wanna hop on. Ever wanna hop to find. Ever wanna more your mind. Ever wanna hop, ever wanna hop, ever wanna hop. Okay, that was probably awful because it got doubled up, but let's just deal with that like nothing happened. Record mode mutes my mic. Okay, so we're just gonna run volume back up again. And I'm gonna put the other part that we did before in first. So we get an idea of where that was sitting. Melody for me. Okay, so we might create some other chords around that bit. Let's just have a look at the other melody I sung in and see if it's still... I love that. We kind of jump through notes and it kind of creates all different tones. Okay, so we're going to play some bass around this moment here. I can hear a lot of different movements kicking in over this, so I've just deleted all the bass that we put in before so we can forget about it. Need to focus really hard. Ba-dum, ba-dum, ba-dum. This is just all on the offbeat, isn't it? The little bass. I'm gonna put it down the octaves now and we'll just have a listen to this. About the synth on that. I say we do a thing where we just duplicate this and we ride the bass up really high there, but we create another bass note and a bass tone down here on the other side. We'll call it a synth part. Something about that riding up that just works really nice. Just going to loosen up that bass a little bit. It seems like it's pretty uptight. Yeah, it's just running too much. I'll share it across. how beautiful it's sounding when I pull the delay out on this synth. So I'm going to play with that a little bit. We'll kind of, actually what we will do is we'll run another LFO, and we're going to get that to control the swinging nature of the delay instead, and we'll see what it does. So we'll put that straight on the chorus, we'll put that straight on the delay, and put this down to like 8. It's going to swing very fast. So that's a bit bonkers, but let's see if we can tone that in a little bit. Still a bit bonkers, huh? I actually don't mind it going really out of tune at that one point. I'm just going to adjust the offset of it now so it doesn't climb up as high and the delay doesn't flame out too much. Focus on this bass movement now. Something about it rubbing against the synth that's not working for me, so we'll just listen to the two together. So that's a little change up on there, so that's good. And then we'll throw that down there. I'm going to change this down to the D. Put a little slight vibrato on that. Copy the bass pattern over, and then I'm going to roll down this or cut it off, and this is the bass part. Let's try a roll off first to see if it responds to that. If we do that, we're going to have to cut it off, so maybe I will cut it off completely. Let's see what that does. Yeah, the cutoff kind of works a lot better in that case. Alright, so we'll copy and paste this over to the next pattern. Let's listen to the other vocal movement I've got, which is down here. Just get rid of the synth part now. Alright. Huh. Gonna do something a little bit different with the bass structure now, and see if it can respond to this. Bipolar. Oh, don't mind that passing note. Maybe we put it down here. Just going to try down to the other note we had there. Bipolar. And I'll put the chords in, these stabs that we've got going. So I'll go through the movement, note that the bass hangs for that. I just kind of want to create a little bit of interest down there. Cool. Well, I think I'm going to tighten that in, move that movement around, and then we'll mess with the chord structures as we kind of swing into that a little bit. I feel like I might open it up so you're kind of singing the same thing over it, and maybe harmonies kick in over that second part to kind of make that roll a little bit. So let's do that. So open it up, we'll come over here, and we've got Fs there, so it's quickly ramping all the volumes down, and I'm just going to change that out to 7s really quickly. We'll listen just to the synth stabs by themselves, and I'm going to slow that down. I'll do with these is I'm actually going to follow the root note of the bass. So we've got a G that's kind of going into here, which is part of this section up there. We're doing a switch up where we're going to go down to the E. So I'll select that. Just picking some notes out of that chord as I run up the chord. So that's kind of opened it out to a different chill chord that I don't know what's gonna happen. But let's just hear where this goes. I'm gonna lift this up. I don't know whether to make this lazy or lazy rush, or we delay it. I don't know yet. We'll just have a listen and see what it does. So we're going to leave these open out to that bit. Don't choke it. Where are we? We're going to do this one down to about here. And then we'll dig these out. We'll put 20 in here. And I'll make this chord come back. Passing notes. Do it or don't you? I don't know. I don't know what the answer to that is. It feels a bit cheesy, but let's just leave it in, see what it does. And we'll bring in the other chord structure that we had on this D down there. Okay, let's have a listen to that overall structure. We'll put in the vocals. I don't know if I like this passing note, I'm just going to get rid of it. I think with this, I'm actually okay with opening out the bass for this moment. And we'll turn this down. And we'll put a little vibrato on that as well. I'm kind of giggling a little bit because I'm just like, oh, what is this? And we'll just not make the volume of this go down too much. Alright, and then I'm going to tighten up the bass part on this second bit by just copying over this pattern that we've kind of got here, just to hear if that works. So I can kind of hear some layered vocal stuff. So I'm just going to do this with vocal synth, and we'll trigger this off as well. I'm doing this to kind of just honor the movement of this. Again, it's just a song. It may not ever get used for anything at all, but it's kind of making me a little bit happy as we kind of roll through it. So this tone, then we'll put a little vocal synth over the top of it. With this vocal synth, we're going to quickly put it into MIDI mode, except then we're going to jump all the way down here, and we're going to add, and then we're going to go to plug and put in the vocal synth. Oh my goodness. Before I do that too, I just want to make sure. Oh, I knew it. I think we're all good now. Okay, so now this gets triggered off in there. Where are we? This never happened. Okay, and 0 there. I'm gonna just put these two together. It'll make sense when we hear it. Why not? Just gonna add another harmony in there. So we're gonna kind of repeat that and have them come in on those little moments at the end here. Drop that down to C now that I hear that together. I don't think that works, but let's just pretend it did. So I'll put some nice harmonies in there. Just get all these notes over. We'll make that go up. messed it up a little bit. I'm just going to turn this reverb off on it then, and I think that's all good. I don't think we need this, so I'll turn it off. Kind of helps. Just gonna do a little side reverb on this. Going to open out this synth a little bit that's playing here and see what it does. I think I might just send this to the reverb that I just set up. We'll just turn it on for that component. And we'll turn it off up here. Okay, so shaping out this beginning part. I think I just want to throw some stabs in there with not much syncopation. Will allow that for the next part to kind of take that. I'm duplicating this whole entire pattern over, and I'm going to copy it over to this side here. And I'm just going to start stripping it out. I'll just get the first notes, and we'll make this really high. And then I'm going to slightly delay it so that it kind of arpeggiates really quickly. It's going to sound like a like an old Mario kind of tone. And we'll just move this one down here. Might do one more octave up. Then I'm going to change the effect that we put on this too. Put this little crystallizer on it too. This is going to pitch up 12, it's going to play in forward mode and we're going to slice it really tight. Just going to put it down a full octave and see what it does. It sounds so much better. Just going to headphones it. Gonna do the same thing to the synth down here as well. Delay that through. I might actually do this one in reverse. So that just means the highest note will come in first. And with this one here, we'll delay it down one note. So it should go. Then we'll do. We'll just keep those two chords actually. Just get these times right on this. Nope, you're the wrong one. Sorry. Put it back. Nice. So I'm going to start messing with the kick drum noises. Really like that. I'll actually just kill the rest of this. Bring in the vocal now.
Ever by your home, ever by your space, ever by your home, living in a pool, everything is oh. Ever by your home, ever by your space, ever by your home, living in a pool, everything is okay. Oh, living in a pool, everything is oh.
I'm gonna drop the boom boom. I'm just gonna quickly put in a bass part. Sorry.
Living in my home, my home, my home, my home.
Oh, that's the wrong sample. Sorry.
My home, living in a my home, living in a pool, my home, living in a pool.
Really unexpected.
home, living in a pool, everything is home, living in a pool, everything is okay.
And then ooh, bring in bass part here. I'm just gonna bring forward the bit from the chorus. We'll have a listen to all of this together and see what it does.
Home, ever by your space, ever by your home, living in a pool, everything is okay. Ever by your home, ever by your
I gotta bring these chords back in.
ever by your pool, ever by your school, ever by your only way, ever by your pool. I'm riding through
So open up the harmonies now. Could bring in a little high note in this other channel here that we've got like kind of spinning out on that delay. So let me quickly do that. Sounds like random notes, right? Right? Here we go. I'll just slightly delay these. 4, 8, 80, and then we'll roll this one down to the next channel. And then we'll put a little note off on it. Let's listen to it by itself. It's super interesting. Okay, I screwed that up. That's why. And we put 8 in there, and 8 in here. So what note did we go into there? Ah, E, E. Might open these out. And then we'll put another little sparkly moment in the next bit. And we'll do one right on the beat on that one. Alright, so we'll listen to the sparkly bits come in on this chorus bit. We have to build up this moment here. We'll have to bring in the kick body sooner. That sparkles too much. Tight, 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 tight. And then I think it goes back to this beginning part.
ever buy your space, ever buy your home, living in a pool, everything is okay.
I think it needs to go to the D on that. So let's just do that. D, 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 and then I might just go to, we'll try E to D.
Home, living in a pool, everything is okay.
We'll just soften this and go down a little bit. Sparkles!
Living in a pool, everything is okay. Ever buy your home?
So I'm gonna bring in, I'm just gonna copy and paste that across, and then I'm just gonna bring in the kick a little bit early and see what happens. I think we're going to ditch the body of it.
Ever buy your school, ever buy your only way, ever buy your bipolar,
Just gonna move this over. I just want to see if there's anything on the end of that, and then I want to tighten this up too.
home, ever buy your space, ever buy your home, living in a pool, everything is okay. Ever buy your home, ever buy your home, ever buy a pool, ever buy your school, ever buy your only way, ever buy your
Just gonna cut that note off.
ever buy your school, ever buy your only way. Ever buy your space.
I'll start the song correctly. In the past, I've kind of truncated all this stuff off. We will cut into the sample correctly. So we'll do 16. And we'll come into the peak of that through this. We'll jump into the appropriate position.
Only ever buy your home. Ever buy your home. Ever buy your space. Ever buy your home. Living in a pool, everything is okay. Ever buy your home. Ever buy your home. Ever buy a pool. Ever buy your school. Ever buy your only way. Only way.
Just gonna cut all of these notes off. I'm gonna bring in the body of this kick drum in now. It's like a little bit sooner. Trigger it off twice.
Ever buy your school, ever buy your only way.
Wow. I'll just loop that around and we'll have we'll play with it. I'll just drop everything out for the second movement as well.
by your, ever by your pool, ever by your school, ever by your only way. Bipolar, I'm riding through. Bipolar, I'm riding through. Oh, bipolar, I'm riding through. Ooh, bipolar, I'm riding through.
All right. That is it's a bit nutty. I'm kind of really enjoying that. I can't wait to hear it back later and see what I think. What I'll do is I'll quickly do a bounce down and so where are we sitting at? I might do an early finish. What about that? We'll just finish with song 15 tonight. I will try and set up my piano for tomorrow so we can sit down and just kind of improvise through. And I think that might be a really good way to kind of deal with creating something different and for the last couple of tracks that we'll kind of sketch together. What I will do is I will bounce this down and then we'll continue wrapping up with some thoughts about that. Run the song to disk. Browse 15, please. We'll do 15. Okay, yep. Song selection. Do that. Oh, thank you, the mixer. I actually super love Toto. So I really appreciate that. I'll just bounce it down and we can listen through to it one more time. It has a nice little opening up in it. And I think can kind of really grow it out to see, you know, where it's actually going to go. So, all right. How you doing tonight, the mixer? The mixer just asked, am I team Fab Filter or Waves? That's a big question. What if I said at the moment I'm using Sound Toys and Isotope. So they're my two kind of go-to effects. With the filters, the mixer, I tend to just use the analog filter that comes with Renoise for kind of dealing with it a bit. But man, Fab Filter, I've seen a lot of insane things come through. I do have a bunch of Wave stuff, but I only really used it for a couple of things, and I don't know, when you jump in on one of their sales, you can get like the gold one, and then all of a sudden you have 2,000 plugins and you didn't really want any of them. So I wanted the near field stereo setup that it had. I think it's called NX, and it works really well through your headphones. What are you, a Fab Filter or a Waves person, or neither? Okay, so bounce that down. All right. So I will play this through one more time when we get to the end of it. Yeah. The mixer. I think I have a delay on the followers. Thank you for becoming a follower, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah. I've got a bunch of plugs down there. I use a lot of, I only really use Isotope to kind of, as a channel mixer for the most part. I really like their Neutron 2, and there's a bunch of other little ones, but I'm into more, the damaging kind of plugins, the ones that kind of ruin that digital output and make it feel a little bit more rounded or a little bit more analog, so that's where I kind of, sit with that. So really interesting night. I created something that I started from tuning drums and then kind of building it up from that, creating a bass line, and then I started singing over the top of it. I have a bunch of different vocal takes that we can throw at it, that I'm kind of excited to revisit back and see if anything else bites. There's probably one little moment that we can kind of explore a little bit more, because there's another high part that I kind of sung that I think could work, but I really like the way it opens out in the chorus, and and the mixer had kind of pointed out it sounds a bit Toto, and it does. It just has these really nice harmonies and vibe through it, so kind of builds out in a nice way, and maybe it's exploring that more, like with the verses and stuff like that, as we kind of build the song up. So I'll bounce that down and I'll throw it to my SoundCloud, and then that is 15 tracks that we've kind of sketched out over 7 days. That's crazy. Maybe I can do one more. The mixer was saying Fab Q2 is sort of my go-to for me, but as a limiter, surprisingly invisible limited G2 and one master. Yeah, I've heard great things about that. Great things about it. Oh, thank you, the mixer. Yeah, I'm a visualist. Like, that's my day job. So, I do lots of 3D art and stuff like that. So I use a game engine at the moment to put all my stuff in so I can run it all real time, but in this case I've kind of had to bake everything down. But yeah, I had a lot of fun kind of putting this channel together over, I think it was like last week. I decided that I would do this, and I quickly was doing research and throwing stuff together to see if I could kind of get it in place. So I just wanted people to understand like how the workflow was going and stuff like that. So I'll quickly go back into a kind of a listen mode, and I'm going to take some notes now as we kind of run through this, and then we'll save these notes off so that when we revisit the song later, we'll run through. So we'll call this the verse. I'm gonna turn my speakers down so we get rid of that flamming noise. Need to be fully exposed out. So with the chorus, I'll just throw this at the screen for you, the mixer. Oh, can you see that? I haven't booted it up yet. I use Unity and Unreal Engine to kind of work with stuff, but a mate of mine works for Notch, and he sent this to me, and he's just like, dude, please can you try this out? So I haven't had a chance to figure it out yet. Not figure it out, but to even boot it up yet, but I'm so amped. Thank you, Bent, for this. This is so, yeah, it was so unexpected. But I've heard such great things. Have you ever used Unity or anything like that? Because after like I've been using that for about 5 to 6 years. And it's like, you know, we've been developing our own tools and putting it together, but I know that Notch is just insanely all about real time. So for the chorus, I think we just need to bring in more drums and build things around. I want the kick to have more head on it, and kind of roll around through that. Nice. Yeah, if you get a chance, I've got this side project called 7-Bit Hero, and it's a computer game, a live computer game that you play as the band's performing. And so we have all these boss battles, so everyone in the crowd logs in with their phone, and then all of that becomes the visuals behind us, and they're kind of just like fighting against all these you know, silly memes and all this other stuff. But it's a really fun, uplifting, sugar-coated kind of adventure, and it's kind of like my I just love like computer game culture so much, and this is that's a kind of project that I just developed with a bunch of friends, because I just love computer games so much. Yeah, I think you'd get a kick out of it. But that's been really good. We've come out to the States once, and we've played at PAX and a few other places. But yeah, it's music. It's like old chiptune music, but it's kind of been injected a bit with a band behind it. So yeah, you might get a kick out of that. If you got any links to the mixer, just whisper them to me. I'd love to check out your work, or anything that you got going on. I think that's about it with the kick movements. I really just want to get more of a groove on with this and create some more separation, but I think we've got this at a really good point to come back to it. And to get more inspired by it, but it certainly is different to the other stuff that we've been working on for the rest of the week. I think I had used the words Clannad and Enya as inspiration, and then we've ended up something on the other kind of setups. So where do I send my oh dude, if you want to support, just tell other people about this channel, and I've got some subs that you can sign up to and some other things. But yeah, I was thinking about starting up a Discord, but I don't have one. So I might actually do that. There's been a couple of other people that have asked about it too, so I think it's really good to get a bunch of I love it when I bump into creative people, so I'm really appreciative that you spoke up and said something. That's really cool, man. But we can set that up. Awesome. I'm gonna take like a little break, and then I might jump back in and see where I'm sitting at. I'm gonna probably just take a 15-minute, and then we'll just take it from there. And then I might just do a really quick song for the next one, something that just doesn't require too much thinking, and we can run it from there. Alright, let me get the break set up, and I will be right back, everyone. And we're back. So I'm going to do song 16, and we're going to keep this. We're going to write something as fast as we possibly can. That's how we're going to deal with this. So first thing we'll do, we'll just come over to the sample area here, and I'm going to not press record. That would be terrible. Although, no, let's not do that. Okay, let's draw in a waveform, and for this one we're going to do I'll just do part triangle, part sine, why not, and then we're just going to smooth this out. Smooth. And in channel we're actually going to start manipulating this. So here's the waveform I just drew in, and then I'm just going to smooth it out with this button down here. Come over here, and I'm going to start messing around with a bunch of little notes together. So and we're going to start in G, why not? Wiping out this channel here. In this, we're going to turn the volume down really quickly. Let this linger on just a little bit. And then we're also going to put the vibrato one over on this side, just to create a little bit more interest in it. And I'll put a tiny amount of chorus through it as well, and a little bit of reverb. Slow that down. Okay, and chorus. It's going to be a sweet sounding kind of little melody moment, I reckon. Just going to turn my speakers up. It's going to create a little bit of flamming, which means you can kind of hear the sound twice and it kind of sounds like phasing, but we'll deal with it. Yeah, that's nice. I might just make it go out a little bit faster. Oh, that's too fast. And then a tiny amount of verb. We'll just use the standard here. We'll widen it out a little bit, add a little bit of color up in that range. Do a little bit of a low cut. It's not a great reverb, but it's the one we're choosing. So I'm going to do a kind of like an arpeggiated progression that we'll use to kind of sing from. I am going to make this ramp down a little bit faster. A lot faster. So we'll get this all kind of happening together. And then I will hit this in a little earlier, the bass, the root note on that. Yeah, we'll delay that out. I don't know, will it be a sad song? Probably. When it's starting off with something like that. Gonna do a little note delay set up for this. Delay that down. Do the same, do an octave above that one. Delay it. Vary this delay note on this one, but I will put it in on the end of this one. Sorry if anyone's ears blew out there. Just gonna put the beats per minute on, the metronome on, to make sure that I'm in a timing. Might roll one more note up here. I'll add one more. Put this back to D. Let's bring over this note from here. Just gonna put a little delay on this as well. Just running this through a little preamp to get a little bit more of an analog tone through it. And I actually will run it through one other thing that I've been messing around with. retro color. Sad piano. I have not heard of that door before. I will check that out. Okay, I'm going to turn the metronome off now. I'm going to throw this out to an effect that's over on this last channel. Alright, let's send that before it hits the retro color thing that kind of killed the high tones in it. We'll keep the existing source. And then we might just... Alright, let's see what this yields as I put on some headphones. I might just make these not roll out as quickly. Thanks for the mixer, appreciate it, man. Quickly run my vocal chain that I've set up earlier. I swear I'll go into detail about how this works at a later date, but for now we'll just keep it down like that. I'm just going to turn my speakers down. And then I'm going to be in record mode and I won't be able to chat until I've done these vocals. Thank you. just change this note. Something's throwing me off the timing. I'm gonna place that in there. It's so different to what I thought would be a melody over the top of it, so I think I'm gonna kind of complementing it through. I'll have to look that up. Like seriously, I'll have to look that up. Oh, that's so loud. Can I dupe this out? Come back over here. Yep. Gonna switch back into vocal mode and layer that through. Didn't know that was his name. If you also get a chance, I've done some work with a band called Future Cop. I think you'll really enjoy that. They're like a really homage to the 80s new wave stuff, and I've my vocals have been featured a few times on their tracks, and yeah, their fan base compared me similarly to Martin Gore as well. But yeah, type in Hunz and Future Cop. So we're just duplicating this across, and then we'll trigger this out. I'm going to record mode now. place that in. And we'll see this layer. And then I'm going to sing like a whole other melody over it. I kind of feel that that's going to sit in the background. It's going to sit at the background of everything. Bello, Thank you so much, Ultra. It happened the other day. It was like 4 days in and we met the criteria. How you doing tonight, Ultra? I mean, this morning. Just gonna group these tracks together, turn the whole thing down. Just get a width in. Just rushing this so that I can hear it better. Right, I'm gonna jump into record mode again. Ultra, thank you so much, man. Waking up and always shouting down until you fall again. Okay, I'm gonna place that part in now. Okay, before I do that, I'm just gonna quickly run these through. And then I might play around with the root notes of the chords a little bit more for this. And I'm gonna turn my speakers up, so my apologies, it's gonna start flamming a little bit. Alright, we'll put this in now. I'm actually going to trigger these off myself. So we'll use SO9 S command to jump into that. Ultra, thank you so much for the sub, man. Really appreciate it. Probably couldn't hear it while the reverb was on, but yeah, thank you so much.
Let you fit in all you see, and on today again.
Crazy tuning. It's all chromatic, or else it's never gonna work. Just to get some clarity over what's going on with this, so that we can pivot more correctly. Oh, thank you so much, the mixer. And Ultra Blue, man. It's okay. I'm putting myself out there by showing recording process and how I'm kind of putting stuff together, so you got to take it all. I was doing a vocal take like maybe 2 days ago, and I had left the volume up way too loud, and as I did it I completely choked, and I think I made that person feel so bad, but I frighten easily, so it's no one's fault but my genetics, so yeah.
Let you fit in all you see, and on today again. Let you fit in all you see, and on.
So I'm just going to add one more track into this. I'm just going to get a really low frequency in there too, where the bass is, and probably octave this other one up to see where that is. We can do this. Come on. Same setup, but I will just mess with this a little bit more to get more of a tone out of it. Ultra just said that I need to integrate the Twitch sub notification into one of my songs. Dude, I'm this close to changing all the samples in it to just moments or collections of songs or like that we've done. So I don't know. I think that's a good idea though. It's like, yeah, I think that's a good idea. It's cool. My cat has walked in, so if you hear some mews, it's her. We'll just keep hammering this on the 6th. I'm gonna turn the click off now. I think we've got an idea of where that's sitting naturally without that going off every time. Should I leave that? No. Put that in there. And we'll mess with this note here. Bring that down to the D sharp. We're gonna have to rush that earlier to match this note here. Then I might actually see what this is like. Just gonna get some more volume up on my speaker end. Gonna bring in the other track. I may sing something completely different in a second.
Let you fit in all you see, and on today again.
created a cacophony of different kind of modes and sounds and shifts through that my headspace is kind of like, what am I going to do? And then even singing this. Kind of works over it. And then this. I'm just gonna roll with it. That's what we'll do. So we left that at D. I'm gonna try and roll this into a chorus kind of projection prediction from there. I know what's happening. Here, add a low pad, warm, phased out, sweep coming in. Yeah, that sounds really nice actually. Might write that down in my notes. Yeah, a really nice low pad. Sweeping across. I've just added that to my notes, the mixer. Appreciate it. I can't hit that note. I'll go down. Yeah. Yeah, I really like that idea. It was some like kind of vocally kind of like what actually like kind of yeah, it's sitting in a nice little frequency, kind of moving in and out and around. Bit of a soundscapey. So a nice like shape to sing something over. So I'm just gonna sing something a bit pure over that, and then we'll see where that takes us. Might sing something a little bit holdy over it instead. Just turning all this off. Alright. I'm gonna jump into record mode. Won't be able to respond till we get back. And turn my speakers down. Be right back. I'll put this in. I'm tired and I have not warmed up in that registry, so I'll just guess the notes out or squeak them out, as I like to say. The mixer just asked, am I Australia based? Yes. Yep. I'll leave that. Yeah, I'm just gonna put this up the octave and compare it to the notes before it and make sure it's swinging in okay. So it just goes up. I'm just going to now create a little kind of arpeggiated rhythm build up behind it for now. There's a suggestion of a low pad, which I totally I can hear as well. I'm just going to place this through. I'm just looking for something more to grasp onto. The weirdness of the first part where you kind of can't figure out where the syncopation's sitting is really nice. But I think at this moment here we kind of have to gather things up and just be like, okay, this is where it's sitting. I'm going to use the same instrument, just treat it a little bit different. Just remember we're kind of sketching out ideas to develop out even further. So not paying, like keeping notes about what tones we think feels right, and we'll figure out what the song's saying in a second. So just give me a second to set this up. I'm going to turn my speakers up. We'll get flamming again, or flanging. Thank you so much, the mixer. Appreciate it, man. So I'm just going to run this on this part. We're going to really bury it in the background. I'm going to quickly run some volume ramps on it going down. And we'll definitely try and bury this a little bit more. What have we got over here? Okay, I'm just going to open up another of send, duplicate, get rid of this. It may be too fast and we'll slow it down. We'll just use this little expander. I don't think it is. I think that's going to work really well for what I'm hearing in my head. Okay, we'll do a send first, and we're going to send it to the reverb and see how far it disappears. And maybe it's too erratic. Okay. And that's okay. Trying to get something in there. Now it's too muddy. Get some clarity over this EQ part, and then we'll pull this back in. We'll try another approach. Let's do this. I reckon it might be chordal based. I think this is just too much. I'm just going to slow it down. Malcolm! It's great to see you again. How's your day going? Yeah, the mixer just asked if I sidechain experiment. I do. I'll show you how Renoise does it. It's really different. I've shown a couple of mixing engineers how it kind of copes with sidechaining, and they kind of wished a lot of other programs dealt with it this way, but it's not. You can't really use normal VST sidechaining methods. Like, you know, if a plugin has a sidechain built into it, you can't run audio straight into it. I don't know why. So there's another way around it where you have to kind of control it a little bit differently. So, but it yields a much different response, and you can kind of run that data into other inputs and kind of get it to control it, like an LFO. You can kind of get it to wiggle meters and stuff like that. So I enjoy it a lot more, but people are on the fence about it. So I think this could benefit from that 100%, or something pulsing around some of that stuff. Just gonna check what this does up. I'm gonna get rid of it. Just gonna send this off the vocal instead. Send it off to the other one. Squeaking it out. I'd love that note to go down, so I might manipulate it there just to get an understanding if that works. Quickly put this on. Let me manipulate that into place. We'll glide that note, and we'll just bend it to where we need it to go. It might sound funny, but we'll leave it. It needs to be sung in. Oh my goodness, thank you for the bits. Alright, I am going to leave that note in there, even though it sounds super interesting. Now with this, I think I'm going to construct a chord movement instead. So we'll be really cautious about how we send this up. Just going to do this by hand to start with. We'll start it like this, and we'll slowly fade it in. And then I will put a chorus over this. And then I'm going to put a filter over the top of it as well, just to pull some frequencies out of it. We'll get a really slow LFO over that. So this is kind of the mixer had kind of mentioned a kind of a low pad sweeping across, so this will set it up. So the mixer just asks, am I using a particular soft synth for the pad? With this, the mixer, what we've got here is, I drew this in earlier. So this is a sample based program. And then what I'm doing is I'm kind of coding in here for each of these samples as they trigger off, start at the volume of 0. And then this over here with this in command, I'm telling it to slowly raise the attack. So it's kind of like a ADSHR kind of setup on it, but I'm just doing it manually. And then running chorus down here, and then an analog filter that I'm going to run this LFO through. So I'll just show you here. This is outputting 0 to 1, and it's sweeping out a sine wave. And then I'm going to patch that into the analog filter, and we'll run that through the cutoff, and now you'll just see the cutoff just roll back and forward. So this will create that kind of sweeping mentality through it. It's got this beautiful button here called reset, which if I click right mouse button, it will trigger off. So if I want the sweeping pattern to be really consistent over every single track, then it's really good to get in the habit of fully resetting it. So I tend to like when I write all this stuff, I tend to do it all by hand instead. Yeah, basically it has like over here this full modulation setup as well, where you can go through here and create like chains of things through it to create some really great stuff. But ultimately it's just an additive oscillator synthesis kind of built into it, but it's all sample based. So I love the damage it kind of does as you go up the octave and stuff like that. There's not all the other programs just perfectly generated out, but this has to force itself through a kind of digital analog pipeline to kind of manipulate all the tones up and down. So I've always just liked that kind of damage tone. And then if you look down here, there's different ways to interpolate the samples as well. So if you go for none, it gets kind of a bit more scratchy across it, because as it goes up and down from the original intent, like the root note of C, it's applying these over the top of it to get more smooth. So yeah, that's right. And so if I apply a modulator on this, it'll affect everything. And so sometimes I sweep from doing the modulation, or you can put a whole effect chain on the sample, and then it becomes like, you can save it off as an instrument. Or I just prefer to do it straight in channel, and you know, I have a little bit of control over the way that's going. But sometimes it's limited, and then I'll quickly duplicate it and start again and set it up a different way, which I might have to do with this still. So I'm going to open that out too. And you can hear it sweeping now over the top of it, and we can make this more. If we go up the octave, we'll get a little bit more frequencies through there. I reckon a really nice throw this out to the verb that we've got set up, and we might end up in a really nice place. Just to kind of leave enough of a body. We'll, over the month of February, we'll be going through and kind of mixing and moving these into place and putting different instrumentation through it, and then doing things like you said, like side chaining and some other things to kind of create space and gaps through the sound. Right now I'm just like iterating through really quick ideas. So what I'll do, I like where this is heading, and I'll get the volume of this right to sit with it all. Right now it's a bit too loud for me. We'll glide these notes around. I don't know, not at the moment. The only person I know that's doing this really well is Deadmau5. So he doesn't talk a lot through his process of what he's doing, but he sure gets you really involved with it all, because he's an amazing visualist at the same time, which people, I don't know if you know that, but he's just so good at it. Like I saw him putting together the new Cube 2.0 stuff the other day, and it's just so good. But yeah, he's, you know, because he's kind of does sound and all that stuff, but you have to really dig the tone of his output. So, but it's so good. Like, but other than that, not many people are kind of doing this. So, not that I can see. Like, if you look through Twitch, a lot of people are busking. Like, I'd call it modern day busking. And so it's really smart, but I just don't. Oh, nice, man. Yeah. It's super inspiring stuff what he's doing. There's so many great futurists out there, like I guess that's the name for them, that are just thinking so different. But even doing this is just you know, it's a bit left of field, but it just seems like a really good fit. Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, please whisper at me. Or I'll send you through my email as well, and you can hit me up directly there if you want the mixer. So we're just going to round this up and put the next like little in here. So one thing that we can do here is we can, I do actually like that it just suddenly cut it off. There's something like, you know, that reverse effect. I really like that, so I might actually just leave that cutting it off and let the reverb that we've sent it to take care of the note on that, and then we'll just lift this back up again. Through there. And I am actually going to reset the sweep that we set up before here, so just right clicking on the reset button there. And I might do one more thing where I'll just try and glide these notes really quickly into each other and see what it does. Then we'll pull up the bass and we're just going to create an alternate movement. I am going to move the synth over a little bit so that I can kind of keep it paired up. And then I'm going to give it a name as well. We'll call it Sweep Synth. So we'll roll that down to F. I love that that's kind of, you know, suspending the note. So I don't know. We'll listen to it and then we'll see whether we should resolve it or not. Run that through to there and hold the note out. I'm gonna leave that unresolved. Mess with this a little bit, this little plate that's on here. And sorry, I'll loop it over this. I'm gonna look for one high note in there as well, so I'm just going to octave shift, I think, the bass root note here, and we'll just have a listen. And I'm gonna put the other synth in. Ultra Blue, thanks for checking in, man. And yeah, good luck with the grind, bro. Yeah, it's real. It's real. I finished work and I'm like, yeah, I get to do some music. So thank you for tuning in. So the next things we're going to kind of run through is I'm going to put these parts together, see how it's all fitting, see if the strangeness of the start fits and makes us feel sparkly in this next bit. I'm just kind of hoping for a really nice switch up where you just kind of get lost in that moment. I think all these things are really adding to it, so I think we'll take some good liner notes and we'll take it from there. Yeah, so let's get started on kind of muting those things out. Yeah. Alright, we'll roll up and we'll have a look. Just gonna headphones it and then I'll just be making some quick little edits to the flow. I'm just gonna kill that main vocal line. So I'm just going to get rid of the other vocals here. I think for this to kind of work, we're going to have to kill the bass or get rid of this bass tone there. Some more volume on the pads. Let's listen to that. Here's a note I want to hit. It just feels weird manipulated there. Alright. And I'll drop this bass note here. I'm going to leave this as is. I like it. I think it needs a lot of work, a lot of attention to kind of build this up. And I'm going to make this a little bit longer. Sorry. Get this properly in. So, interesting loops. just quickly do actually is I'm going to sing in a harmony with that before we just throw this idea to the curb. Not to the curb, but to the side. And be like, hey, quickly turn these off or else it causes massive lags. Okay, we're going to duplicate this really quick. Move this over to this channel here. Can run through that. And then... Okay, give me a second.
Ooh, oh, so I love the
Alright, let's put that in. Super rough. Thanks for sticking through vocal takes. Okay, we'll put this guy on it. Okay, I'll just get my speakers up and we'll have a listen through this. It's an interesting switch up of things, and I can't wait to listen to it later. So, the mixer just asked, what are your top 3 inspirational artists and groups? Oh, that's so hard to kind of answer right now. At the moment, I'm currently listening to there's an album. There's a band here called Rufus, and if you get a chance, listen to them. But it's pretty dancey, trancey, but it's good. There's another artist that I've been listening to, and actually the double Lowe's new album, Double Negative. The guy that produced that. Hey Nags, is pretty much one of my favorite producers, and he also did what do you call it? Bon Iver's album, but he's into really huge distortion kind of setups, but really drony and really beautiful. So I really like that. Yeah, I'll send you the links for that. I'll send you through my emails as well. And then the last one, listening to way too much. There's this New Zealand artist. There's two. There's this artist called Jade, and I've forgotten her last name, and it's incredible stuff. And then there's a band in New Zealand called The Broods as well. But their new album just dropped, and they totally switched up their sound, which I really like. It's the sound's a bit more like I don't know if you remember a band called Goldfrapp. They've kind of gone down this kind of Goldfrapp slash like garbage kind of tone. It's really interesting. But before that, it was very dreamy and dancey all at the same time. So yeah, like if you get it, their new album is just amazing. So they kind of work with Lord and a bunch of other people like that. So yeah, but then all time, oh man, that's it. That's like, oh my goodness, that's even harder. But yeah, it's kind of like a bunch of moments from that. I was really into Nin 9 Inch Nails for a very long time, and there's a couple of songs that Trent's done, like, you know, that he does that's really inspiring to me. I love that mix of that very like distortion-y kind of tones and these layers of things kind of moving around. Like, that's my favorite thing to do. And like with this EP I'm putting together in this month for the RPM challenge, I'm hoping to, I've kind of got this dreamy synthy kind of tone that I want to hit with it, and been listening to a bit of Enya and Clannad to try and bring that together. So yeah, great question. So we'll quickly have a listen through this, and then I'm going to I think I'll call it an evening after this, and I really appreciate you guys hanging around, and we'll just take some liner notes for it. It's 2 movements, and it's okay. I like it, but I'm not like, I think it definitely feels like the 16th song on the 7th day. So just like trying really hard to get idea after idea out, so that we've got some really good tracks to get from. That octave down actually turned out really nice against it. Cool. I might just loop that second part a little bit, and I'll do a quick bounce down. I'll be dropping these on SoundCloud. There's 16 ideas up on SoundCloud at the moment under Hunz. If you guys are interested, you can just catch up on the other days. Better than watching long form videos of like 2.5 hours each of me kind of putting that stuff together. So Yeah, have a look at that. Okay. Get that set up. And then we'll do some liners. Okay. I've got this. Okay. Yes. I'll bounce back to thoughts. I think I'll do some notes at a later date on that one. But thank you so much for sticking around for this session. That was a really interesting song to kind of end on. I wanted to quickly iterate something out just by using a simple little waveform sample. So I think we got to an okay place and a good place with it. Really appreciate all the feedback or just the little things that happened during that. Yeah, if you get a chance, check out the SoundCloud, tell everyone about the stream, and get some support going. It's a different way to kind of present it. I did the RPM challenge 10 years ago and made an album called Thoughts That Move, and I thought, let's do it again this year as well. And then this time I just upped the process a bit and kind of exposed through how that kind of works. So just running through it all. So really appreciate it. Really good to meet you, the mixer. I'll whisper out my email address and just send through the stuff when you get a chance. Thank you again. I hope you guys have an awesome day, morning, afternoon, evening, and I will catch you tomorrow around the same time. See ya.
Stop.